Then we had Smackdown on Friday in Berlin, Germany, with 3 stages of hell between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And they did the right thing. They finally crowned Drew McIntyre after all the losses that have piled up for this man in these big match situations over the last 3 years, 3.5 years. All the screw jobs, all the whining and the complaining. For him to go in there and lose again would have been death. And he becomes only now the 3rd man in history to win the WWE Championship outside of North America. The other 2 being Brock Lesnar. That was in Saudi Arabia at the Elimination Chamber in 2022. And AJ Styles in 2017 when he beat Jinder Mahal to end the gender experiment on SmackDown in the UK. And of all the people that Drew McIntyre has to thank for winning the WWE Championship, for all the years of heat that he has had with the Bloodline, it was a member of the Bloodline, Shakeup Fatu, who provided the assist. Now, he may not have intended to provide the assist, but that's exactly what happened. Drew won the first stage of hell in 3 minutes, the typical waste of an opening fall in these types of matches. Cody won the second stage, Falls Count Anywhere, which included a balcony dive through a table where Cody did not move a single muscle in his body on the way down. Go back and watch that splash off the balcony. He looked like fucking Randy the Ram at the end of The Wrestler flying through the air. So it came down to the steel cage. And that is where Fatu showed up at the end, over by the door. Drew was trying to crawl out. Fatu revealed himself. And he went after him, and then inexplicably, Cody Rhodes, seeing this, decides to walk over and stop Shakeup Fatu. He put his hands on him. And so Shakeup turned his ire on Cody, which then allowed Drew McIntyre to sneak out through the door and win the title. An anticlimactic way of winning the World Championship, but it kind of fits here. And it's a way for them to protect Cody by not having Drew just beat him straight up the way that, Punk did Braun Breaker on Monday night. To be honest with you, Cody going after Shakeup made Cody look far worse than a clean loss would have. But Drew got his homecoming in Glasgow last night with the title. They had a live event there. He wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura, and he was welcomed with open arms by all the hometown fans. The match itself on Friday, though, was very good. The first fall you can throw away. The second one wasn't too crazy, and the cage portion was good. It included Cody pushing himself off the side of the cage. He was up on top, but he kind of pushed himself off the side of the cage and went flying through the air, and he caught Drew with a Cody cutter on the way down, kind of. But then we got the cheap finish at the end, which introduces more questions than answers with Shakeup Fatu, and that's not a bad thing to leave people wondering and guessing going into TV this week. Why did Shakeup Fatu attack Drew McIntyre, right? Is it because he thinks that Drew attacked him, or he knows that Drew attacked him? And why did he fight Cody? Is it because Cody simply put his hands on him first, or does he know something about Cody's involvement that we don't? Or is he just a wild man who attacks anyone that comes near him? Right? What this does is 2 very important things. It shakes up the main event scene on SmackDown heading into WrestleMania, which makes things more fun. It makes things more interesting at a time when SmackDown has been anything but fun and interesting. 2 weeks in a row, they have put on a good show, better than SmackDown has been in a long time. Now, whether or not that has anything to do with Ryan Ward reportedly taking on more influence behind the scenes over Road Dogg in terms of the formatting and structure of the show, that I don't know. I'm sure it doesn't hurt. But creating some chaos and unpredictability on the road to the Rumble, on the road to WrestleMania, that's exactly what this show needs. Now, according to Bodyslam.net, it was Cody and Drew themselves who went to WWE officials and personally lobbied for Drew to win the championship. As they did before WrestlePalooza, the same thing was reported at that time in September that Cody and Drew, they were the ones who pitched the idea of doing a title change, an accidental title change on that show. Although at the time, I think the idea was maybe Randy Orton would be involved and not Fatu, but it was the same general concept. At the time, the idea supposedly got shot down, but WWE felt this was a good time to do it, being overseas and also to create some buzz around the show. And not just that show, but just SmackDown in general. If that is true, if it was Cody and Drew who made the pitch and WWE decided to run with it, what that tells me is that it is not something that Triple H and Creative mapped out or planned on their own. And therefore, Drew McIntyre is not likely to be champion for very long. That makes it sound like it was done for a moment. And the first chance they get before WrestleMania, they're going to put that belt right back on Cody. That's what that tells me. Now, right now, Cody is going to be in the Royal Rumble match. He has to be. There's no other role for him on that show otherwise. And Shakeup, I'm sure, will be in the Rumble as well. The great thing about Shakeup, by the way, being involved in the finish of that match is that it inserts him right into the main event scene on Friday nights. That's exactly where he belongs. So that's a good thing. Now, Nick Aldis announced 4 qualifying matches to take place this Friday in London on Smackdown, with the 4 winners advancing to a fatal 4-way. It's a lot of 4s. The 4 winners will advance to a fatal 4-way on Saturday night's main event, January 24th in Montreal. That is the week before the Royal Rumble. The qualifying matches are Randy Orton against The Miz, Matt Cardona against Trick Williams, Damian Priest against Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn against Ilya Dragunov, which means that we should be looking at Randy Orton, Damian Priest, Trick Williams, and Sami Zayn in the fatal 4-way. The winner of that match goes on to the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. So Cody Rhodes won't be getting a rematch on that show. There's really only 3 names of those 8, realistically, that I could see wrestling Drew at the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton, Ilya Dragunov, or Sami Zayn. And I think it is going to be Sami Zayn. It just makes sense. All of a sudden, in the last few weeks, Sami starts talking again about wanting to be the world champion this year. He pointed out the other night that Drew is the only guy he's never been able to beat. Saturday night's main event is being held in Montreal. Who do you think is going to be the crowd favorite in that match? Sami wins in Montreal, and then he gets a shot at the title in Riyadh. 2 places where I would say he's going to be very popular. It makes all the sense in the world for that person to be Sami Zayn. Because I don't see Sami in the Rumble itself, because Sami is not winning the Royal Rumble, and he's not challenging for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, nor is he walking in as the champion. WWE is not giving Sami Zayn the big payoff in Las Vegas. If he's going to have a big payoff to his story, it's a lot more likely to happen in Saudi next year. But Sami Zayn against Drew McIntyre in the main event of WrestleMania, I mean, you got to get that idea out of your head. Like, it's not happening. The idea of WWE doing Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and it not being the main event, you got to get that out of your head. You got to stop. Like, if they're doing that match, that is your WrestleMania main event for whatever night that they're doing that match. And that is the $1 million question. What comes next? Could be Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber next month. That's what I'm thinking, and that's where Cody wins the belt back. And then imagine if Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, right? He holds off on picking his challenger until the chamber gets sorted, and he ends up choosing Cody Rhodes. That seems like the likeliest scenario to me. Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre? I could see that too. I could see it. I don't think it's likely that we get that one-on-one, but I could see it. But then what do you do with Cody? I mean, you could do a triple threat. I don't know how I feel about that. You know what? I would love to get to a place, if it were up to me. I would love to get to a place where we get Cody and Punk at Mania, I guess for the other title, and then they could do Roman and Drew. But that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that if they could get to a place where we get those 2 matches, like, I would like that. Where does Jacob Fatu fit into all this? Like, who's going to be revealed as the actual attacker? Drew McIntyre is just too obvious of a choice, right? There's Cody, there's Randy Orton, right? Don't count him out as a possibility. These whodunit angles, they can be fun to follow along with, but you got to stick the landing, right? You got to have a good payoff for it. Otherwise, you end up with Rikishi running down Stone Cold. Last week, Kit Wilson, he went 50-50 with a debuting Matt Cardona in their match. And Wilson's got his own entrance video now and new music. And it just felt like, man, they must not really be expecting his partner to be back for a long time. It's like they're giving him a renewed singles push, to the effect that I could actually call it a push since he never wins his matches. But now we know why. On Friday, his tag team partner, Elton Prince, posted a photo on his Instagram of him just out of surgery with a bandage on his neck because he only now just underwent neck fusion surgery on Thursday, 7 months after he last wrestled. It was a tag team match with Pretty Deadly against Fraxium back in May. There was a spot where Nathan Frazier landed a springboard. And as he landed on his feet, he did the springboard, he lands on his feet, but at the same time, he grabs Elton Prince on his way down in a Scorpion Death Drop position. Then he grabs Kit Wilson, and he delivers a Death Drop to Prince at the same time that he delivered a DDT to Wilson. Prince actually came up bleeding from his mouth. There was a follow-up standing shooting star from Frazier, and I think that's what busted his mouth open. He's bleeding all over the place from the mouth. But right before that, right before he got busted, you could see after that Scorpion Death Drop, like he was in some distress and his fingers are curling up like something was wrong. Little did we know, or he know, how serious he was hurt. But you could hear it from Prince himself. This is what he wrote on Instagram. Back in May, I took a bad landing in the ring. The top of my head hit the mat, and what felt like burning hot electricity exploded through my neck and my arms. I lost control of my hands as all of my fingers curled in and were stuck for a moment. It was pretty terrifying, and what followed has been 7 months of tests and questions and, well, pain. But thanks to the efforts of the WWE medical staff and Dr. Cantor, Gina, and the Hogue team, we found the problem, and yesterday I successfully underwent a 2-level neck fusion. Not exactly where I hope to be at 28, but we are owed nothing in this life, and I am just grateful to be on the road to recovery. I want to thank everybody who has messaged or commented to ask how and where I am. It's been nice to not feel forgotten, and I will try my hardest to overcome all the obstacles and get back in the ring for you. Neck fusion at 28 is pretty wild. That's a young age to be on borrowed time, and it sucks that it took 7 months to figure out what the problem was. But at least it sounds like everything went well as far as the surgery. It makes what William Regal said even more notable, and that wasn't even what would be considered a high-risk move, the move he took. But I think that's kind of his point. Like, wrestling is dangerous enough without all the stupid bumps and risks that people take these days. One move can lead to an early retirement or nerve damage or just, pain and discomfort for the rest of your life. Kit Wilson had this to say about his partner on social media. Elton is a very private person, so he would never fully tell people just how hard this journey has been for him. So I would like to share a little. The amount of pain, struggle, and hardship that he has pushed through just to get to the point of having this surgery is nothing short of admirable. He was injured during the middle of a match. While trying to figure out what was wrong, he took another move that cut him open badly. At the time, I didn't know how serious it was, but I knew he was hurt. I was screaming at him to tag me in so that he could get out and get medical help. Even then, he was determined to stay in the ring and finish the match. That's just the kind of performer he is. We became best friends and tag team partners on the independents. We signed our contracts, moved across the world together, and grew up side by side from single boys who love each other to family men who maybe still love each other more than our girls. We always talked about being a tag team for life, no matter what. So for him to suffer a career-threatening injury was, and still is, devastating. Everything I do now as a singles competitor is the hope that we can be Pretty Deadly again. But that isn't the priority. Right now, I'm just glad that Elton has finally had his surgery and is on the road to recovery so he can be the best partner and the best father he can be. I could say so much more, but I'll let Elton do that in his own time. Love you, Lewis. Here's hoping he can return at some point.